I'm Jack. This is Yola. And that's Murphy.
Murphy is 6 years old. We didn't choose to have a hawk as a pet. It was an accident.
So we didn't seek out to own a hawk, actually. We have 2 cats as well, but we have Murphy now too. Murphy was given to Yola by her boss, basically. And the boss's family bought Murphy because they had a lot of pigeons around their house and they wanted to scare the pigeons away. And I guess they did some research about how the best way is to get rid of them, and one of them was to get a bird of prey like a hawk to scare them away. So they bought this hawk, where they didn't realize that they needed to spend a lot of time training the hawk to do things and to take care of the hawk. And so there was a point where they didn't have enough time to do that. And so they couldn't take care of him, and he was sitting alone in their dark basement and just being fed and being angry and scared. And so it was not a very good life for him. But luckily the previous owners realized that. They knew that Yola knew a bit about birds. They just gave it to her as a gift. So
For me, no, because I grew up with birds and I've looked after a lot of wild birds. And I've had birds of prey that I've rescued from the wild as well. I can read him quite easily. Mostly, I know what's going on with him. But for you, it might have been a steeper curve,
it was
right?
it was a learning curve. But I'm getting better at reading him. They have a much closer relationship than I do with him. I mean, he loves her, of course. That's his mom. So she can do no wrong. But me, he kind of just like, he just tolerates me. Like, okay, like most people. But he just kind of tolerates me. So, yeah. But it's over time you learn. If you observe, I think any animal, not just a bird, but if you just pay attention and observe, then you can see these little changes and you can learn how to behave around them.
I think it's his wildness, actually, and the fact that they say with hawks they can be trained but never tamed. And it's true. If you leave him alone, if you start backing off from him and not manning him like we are now, with other people and different situations, he will become increasingly wild. And that's when they become dangerous. But I love that wildness about him and the fact that he's always going to be his own animal, as it were. He doesn't belong to anybody. The molting process in the wild is different for different species of birds. So if you have small passerine birds, they might do it in one go. But larger birds, because feathers take a lot of energy to create and grow, so the larger birds tend to do it in 2 steps. And the first step begins when they're breeding, when they're making their nest, and they'll have a partial molt. And it tends to go from the outer wing to the inner wing. So it'll start with the larger feathers, maybe on the tail or the primary feathers on the wing, and they'll lose them gradually, very gradually. And that will happen in April, and then it'll stop when they migrate, because most birds migrate and they need a lot of energy again to migrate. They need to hunt. That's why you get the symmetry of the feathers being lost on either side of the wing. And so they migrate, and then when they reach their wintering grounds and they can rest again, then the second phase of the molt. So it doesn't put too much pressure on them when they're hunting and feeding. Obviously they have to keep that balance.
The most interesting, most exciting, most magical, as I said, is having him fly freely. So there are moments, it's been a while, but there's moments where we can have him the perfect weight, the perfect training rhythm and routine, and he can get off of the tether, which connects him to us, and he's just flying freely. And when you see that happen, it's, you know, it's of course his nature to fly freely, so it's really exciting. That's one of the best times, I'd say.
But your heart is always in your mouth because when we fly him, he's got to be a very specific weight. But it has to be exactly correct, like he has a flight weight that you determine, which is 590 grams. Less, if he's too low in weight, he won't have energy and fly and come back to you. He will sit in a tree and you'll be waiting for 45 minutes for him to come down. If he is too heavy, again, he'll sit in a tree and not come back. So your heart's always in your mouth. Is he going to come back? Or is he going to go and hunt something and then we have to chase him, all the rest of it, and then swap the food out so he doesn't get upset when he's caught something, you just take it away.
Yeah, when you have a hawk and you want to fly the hawk, it's like having a boxer. You have to train and you have to have the right weight. So it's really like having like a boxer. Like that's what you have to do. Training and weight management. Those are the two key points for flying. One great thing is just being here in Thailand that we get to travel with him almost everywhere. So we'll go on little trips and we'll leave Bangkok and go to the beach or go into the mountains, and we take him everywhere. The Thai people, a lot of the Thai businesses are so friendly to us that, you know, we can sit in a cafe like this, we can sit in restaurants, we can take him to hotels. That's great, just to be able to travel with him. Yes.
Yes, 100%.
Yes.
He's easier than a dog or a cat to travel.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Yeah. If we're in a car driving with him, he'll just sit on her lap. He doesn't have to be in a special, you know, box or something like that. He won't cause any fuss. If our cats are in the car with us, they have to be in boxes and they're crying all the time. Meow, 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 please let me out. So it's just like, okay, sorry. But that's how they are. And yeah, Murphy's really well behaved, I would say.
Yeah. It goes back to the trainable but not tameable thing. You've just got to continue like training all the time. It does not ever stop. Like a cat or a dog, which is a domesticated animal, once they're trained, they're trained. They don't forget and they're good about it. But him, it's got to be all the time, unless he'll just revert back to being wild again because he's not domesticated.
Yeah, they call that type of training manning. Basically, the more exposure he gets, the more we take him out, the more he sits in a cafe, the more he sees other people, the more he hears cars and motorcycles pass him, the less he'll be scared of them. So he becomes familiar with the environment around him, with strangers, with other animals, things like that. So that's the reason why even when he's not flying, we will take him for a walk. And you know, Yola walks him almost every day. And so it's not because she wants to show everybody, well maybe half of it is, but hey everybody, I have a hawk. But the main point is it's really part of his training. For him to go around and see other people, to be exposed to noises and sounds and sights that he doesn't see when he's in the house with us. The more that he does that, the more relaxed he is, and that's why he's a great travel buddy. We can take him in the car, he's really relaxed because we put in the time for the training.
What do you think? I'm not sure. Oh, he just said, he's talking now.
I don't know, but he when he does try to communicate verbally, he does this sound. It sounds like she just did. It was like, and it sounds, for some reason, we interpreted that as him saying Murph. So we started calling him Murphy. There's this movie with Matthew McConaughey called Interstellar, and in the movie, his daughter's character is named Murphy, but they call her Murph. And there's, I don't know why, but someone, this is the magic of the internet, someone made a supercut of every time either Matthew McConaughey or other actors say Murph, 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 and it's all supercut of like Murph, 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 Murph. And it kind of sounds like the noises he makes.
Hi, Murph. What'd you do, Murph? Murph! Murph!
Murph, Murph, Murph.
Murph! 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 Murph.
I asked Murph.
That's why we named him Murphy.
I would say research really, really, really well. Number one, you've got to read a lot, you've got to learn a lot about these animals. And also try and join a group, go out with them, because they're fearsome, they're predators, they're wild, and you've got to learn how to read them, and you've got to know that you have to be very calm with them, because he can feel energies and he can see energies. Actually, they see a whole different wavelength of light to us. He can see much more than we do. So he knows when people are nervous, he knows when they're frightened, and he reacts accordingly, which is not good, actually. So you've got to be very calm, and you've got to, I think, practice with a group first and get trained before you even own the hawk. You have to have a lot of space, they have to have their own room, they have to have a garden. Yeah, so research and go get familiar with a hawk or an eagle or an owl, but they're very difficult to look after. It's not easy. You can have problems if you don't research.
I think that can be applied to animals in general. That's why you have a lot of stray dogs and cats is people adopt them and then they can't take care of them anymore because they either didn't do the research or they didn't realistically face how much time, energy, money it would cost to take care of this animal, and so you have these stray animals on the street, which is a shame. So I think even more difficult is an animal like Murphy, like a hawk. It's not as easy as a dog or a cat because the resources are a very different type of, I think, different type of style that you have to prepare. So definitely do your research, as Iola said.
Always ask first. Like some people, they just come right in and start, asking him to fly and making funny noises, and he doesn't really like it. Like if you really want to get to know a hawk, you have to do it over a period of time. He will not accept you immediately like a dog might. So yeah, it's slowly. And like if you want to hold him, then you have to spend the time with him. It's manning again so he can get to know you. Like I had to sit for hours and hours and hours in the same position when he first came, whilst he got used to me. It takes a long time. Thank you.
Thank you.